I didn't expect to get emotional over this question. But yeah, there are moments where if you're a stay-at-home mom, you get all of those. Hey loves, it's Brianna. Happy New Year's Eve. I've been off of work this week, so I'm filming a Q&A for you guys today, and the whole family's home. So if you hear some crazy background noises, that is why. Adam's trying to corral everyone down the basement while I film this by the tree. I'm clinging to the tree, guys. I don't want to take it down. I don't want to admit that Christmas is over. It's just my favorite time of year. And I think it was truly the best Christmas I've had in my entire life this year, having 2 kiddos. It was just so magical. But I posted a picture on Instagram and was overwhelmed by the number of comments. You guys asked really good questions, so I'm going to try to answer as many as I possibly can here, and then depending on how far we get, either do a part 2 or an Instagram live where I can start answering some of the questions I didn't get to and take more questions if you guys join that space and want to ask them. And these Q&As are always really, really long, so make sure you grab yourself a drink of your choice. For me, it would be a Patek Red, and I hope you enjoy this Q&A. This question, Turn the Page, that's such a cute Instagram handle, asked this, and another person, Sar and KK, commented on it. They want to know it too. What does Adam do for a career? He's a director of marketing. Hey, I'm Kelly said, I'm due with baby number 1 in March. Such a good time of year to have a baby. What's your best advice, tip, trick for mom's recovery, and what's been your number 1 parenting hack? Utilize the help of others, whether it's your hubby, a best friend, a family member who can come. Ask them for help so that you can rest and bond with your baby as much as possible, and focus on you. You're gonna really wanna focus on your baby, but do little things for yourself, whether it's taking an hour to go get a pedicure, or taking an hour to take a bubble bath, an hour to do your hair and makeup. Do things for you, because your mental health and sanity are going to be really important, and you want to feel confident and good. And this is like a side note, but I feel like pictures are so important to me. I actually said this to Adam at Christmas time, like pictures and video, and I know it's like what we do on Instagram and YouTube, but the reason I even started this channel, and that was some folks' questions in the comments why I started this channel, one of the reasons was I wanted a place that could hold all of our pictures, videos, so God forbid house burns down or something happens to me, or one of my devices breaks or something like that, lose a memory card. All of our family videos, pictures, really important memories are on the channel, so that the kids, you know, no matter what their age is, they can go back to this channel, watch those videos, and have those memories captured. But I'm so ADHD and getting off topic here. You want to look nice for pictures with your baby, so definitely make sure you take time for yourself every now and then. Get yourself all dialed up, and you'll feel really confident and really good during that recovery period. Martha A. RDs, does P have trouble sleeping when you eat chocolate? Nope, not that I've noticed. Let's Go Exploring, do you use a double stroller? If so, which? We have a Graco, it's in the Click and Connect series. I'll link it in the description box if you want to check out which one our stroller is. I like it because the carrier, P still uses the carrier, can pop right in it. We use it at Disneyland too, and it was great. And it has different like settings, so depending on the age of your little ones, a toddler could stand on the back of it or sit in the front, and I like the versatility of it. Nicole Christine asked, what lipstick and blush do you wear? Lipstick, it really depends on the day, but I'll link some of my favorites in the description box too. And blush, I've been switching it out. Today I'm using the NARS Orgasm in the liquid form, and I'm really liking it. I feel like it helps your skin stay really glowy and dewy for longer than a powder does. Ashley Francis asks, as a full-time working mama myself, I find it hard to keep up on all the house chores. What are your tips for working full-time and maintaining your home? You're also my favorite YouTuber, and as soon as I watch a video, I literally can't wait for you to post another one. Oh, thank you so much. You guys really make my day. My advice, I would say, I live by my to-do list and my calendar. So for me, blocking off the time on my calendar forces me to tackle my to-do list during those times that I've blocked off. A Boone 18 asks, what are your tricks for handling typical toddler meltdowns? Now this is where my teacher roots definitely come into play, because every child is different, and therefore your discipline strategies or behavior management strategies have to look a little bit different. Landon is a helper at heart. So he's a people pleaser. He wants to make other people feel good. So for example, this morning, he wasn't really eating his breakfast, and I could say to him, Mommy will be so happy if you take 3 more bites of your oatmeal. And he was literally like, okay, Mommy, I want you to be happy, because he's a people pleaser and he likes to help. So he ate his 3 bites of his oatmeal. Other kids, that's not what motivates them. And this is truly, like, every kid is different and sort of plays into love languages. If things really matter to them, like they're very motivated by getting a new toy, you can either use the strategy of, if you do this chore, then you will receive this race car toy. Or the other form of that is taking things away. So if you don't do this chore, then this race car, you do not get to play with it for the rest of the day. Or maybe your child is motivated by quality time if that's their love language. So maybe you say, hey, if you pick up all of your toys, Mommy is going to go for a walk with you, or Mommy's going to watch a TV show with you, or Mommy will read you a book. Really, I'm so ADHD lately. I have no idea what just fell. Coley, what are you doing? I think that was Coley. Anyways, so similarly for handling meltdowns, I think you have to know your child's triggers. I think in the moment, you can get really stressed out. So for me, one of the biggest things I try to tell Landon to do is breathe, because that's also a reminder for me, like breathe, don't stress out, don't let this get blown way out of proportion. Because generally, if you raise your voice and yell, that's just gonna make your child get upset, and actually encourage them that in the moment when they get frustrated, that raising your voice and yelling is okay, which is not actually the message you wanna send. Depending on the severity, if he's just like having a little moment, I will sometimes say to him, okay, you do your thing. And I just walk away and ignore it and act like it is not a big deal. But if he's having the kind of meltdown where we're in public and it's actually like completely inappropriate, like let's say laying on the ground, kicking his feet, doing something that's not okay, I will pull him up, make direct eye contact. Like eye contact is so important sometimes in these moments, and be like, you need to breathe. You're not being okay right now. And like that generally, like the eye contact, something about that like shocks them in a way. But I think the most important thing for meltdowns is actually the prevention or the strategies that you do prior to the meltdowns, of teaching your kiddo how to react when they get frustrated. Because frustration is totally normal. As adults, we're frustrated all of the time. Like think about how many times throughout the day you're annoyed or aggravated that something isn't going right. So it's totally normal, and they don't have the vocabulary yet to express how they're feeling. So I think it's encouraging them, 1, how to get calm in that moment, 2, how to express their frustration in a positive way or redirect it in a better way, instead of crying, screaming, to say, hey, when you get frustrated, come to Mommy and tell her what's wrong and ask for some help. And that way he knows, instead of like crying, having a meltdown, screaming, which is going to happen still. He's a toddler, like I have to expect that, but at least he knows, okay, if I actually feel this way again, I can come to my mom or my dad, ask her for help or ask him for help, and it's not the end of the world. I can breathe and they'll help me. And I don't know, I don't say all of that to like be some know-it-all. Like Landon is still gonna have meltdowns. There are still times I'm really, really frustrating, or it's really embarrassing when you're out in public and you have a toddler who's screaming and crying. That totally happens, but I just know as a teacher, the best way is to teach kids how to de-escalate things themselves, how to calm themselves down, and knowing how each child is motivated a little bit differently to offer those positive behavior incentives for doing the right thing. Because ultimately, you want to get out of the place of always having to correct bad behavior and to a place where you're simply rewarding the good behavior and saying like, wow, you did a good job. I saw you take deep breaths and you came and asked me for help. That was really good, Landon. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. Carrie Roberts asked, how do you stay so positive and motivated, especially when you're dealing with a lot of stress? Part of it, I think, is just my nature. I think I've always tried to focus on the positive, and I'll just tell myself it is just a bad day, or it's just a bad hour. I think especially the just a bad day. There is something about when you go to bed and re-wake up in the morning and you can tell yourself this day is going to be so much better than yesterday. It's just a nice reset button. And honestly, you guys and your kind words, comments, and messages keep me so positive and motivated, I have to tell you. It really, really means a lot to me. My love language is words, or words of affirmation. So truly getting to connect with you guys and reading your kind words, it just makes me so, so happy. So I'm so grateful for all of you. My girl Kimberly, Style Mom XO, how many more beautiful babies do you think you guys will have, or are you done? I don't know. I would have so many more. I would literally have 10 babies. Like, I would keep on having babies until my body no longer allows me to have babies if I could. Which probably sounds a little crazy because I'm only one of two, so I never had a big family in that sense. But after having my 2 kids, there is nothing more valuable in the world to me than my babies. And I think being a teacher and having a classroom of 30 kids, I loved it. Like, at the end of the school day, when the kids would leave and it got all quiet, I would be like so sad in my heart because I missed them. Like, I just liked the talking and the energy and how funny they were, and it was just never boring. It was never dull. And so I think the same way with my kiddos. I feel like the more that I have, the greater likelihood that even if some, you know, are in college or end up moving away to take a job somewhere else, I'll at least still have some babies who can come home and give me something to do. I don't know, is that strange? Do any other mamas have that thought? If I could guarantee that Landon and Presley would live wherever I was living and wouldn't leave me and would come visit me at least once a week, then I could be done. But I don't know what the likelihood of that is. Shellrod34, have you traveled outside the US before? Yes. But I've only used my passport one time. My husband and I, when we were engaged, we went on an engagement moon, we joked. It was a 2-week cruise around the Mediterranean, and I saw so many countries. It was the best trip ever. I would love to do it again. Before we do it again, I definitely want to see some other countries. Germany is high on our bucket list. I really want to see London. I also would love to go to Australia at some point. I would also just like to go to a lot of the different tropical islands in the Pacific. I think that would be really fun. Do some beach vacations out there, maybe Fiji. Let me know in the comments the favorite place you've ever traveled to outside of the US. I would love to know. I actually love watching travel vlogs on YouTube of people who go different places so that I get ideas of where we could go someday. Caitlin Davis 19 asks, what are the best and worst things about having 2 kiddos now? I wouldn't say there's anything that's like the worst. I would just say it definitely gets harder though. You're worrying about another little human, so there's definitely just another layer of work added to the mix, but I like to be busy anyways. Like, I always keep myself busy, so overall I don't mind it, but in the moment sometimes it can be really hard or crazy or chaotic. But I think the best thing is I truly feel like I have the best of both worlds, having a boy and a girl. It is so much fun getting to experience both, being a boy mom and a girl mom. So I think that's the coolest thing. I loved being a boy mom from the beginning, and you know, had Presley been a boy, would have absolutely loved having 2 boys, but I think it is really cool getting to experience being a girl mommy now. Nicole Rodanis asked, what are some of the things you packed and used and didn't use in your hospital during and after labor? I did a whole what's in my hospital bag video for myself, and I also did one for Presley. Truly, in my bag, again, it was my second time, I used everything besides one of the extra pairs of pajamas that I packed. And similarly for Presley, I used everything for her except I think a couple of the extra outfits that I packed just in case she had like vomit or poop out or something on one of the outfits that I intended on her wearing. Nene, I don't know if I'm saying that right, sorry if I didn't. Nene326. Hey mama, any advice on keeping a happy, healthy marriage amongst the busy life of parents? Also, what is your guilty pleasure? Guilty pleasure first, glass of Apothic Red in my bubble bath watching Real Housewives. That's my favorite. I really like Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm Italian, so I feel like I relate to a lot. I love Real Housewives of Orange County and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Advice on a healthy marriage. Making time for each other. We definitely don't do enough of this to be fully transparent. It's something that for next year, we definitely want to be doing a lot more date nights intentionally and just making time for ourselves. I will say though, what I'm more appreciative than anything is the fact that Adam helps so much with this business. So I think just what you guys maybe don't see because you just see me on the camera a lot Adam actually helps all of the business side of things, since I do have a full-time job outside of YouTube, and especially because I have to travel for that job rather frequently. So I have a lot of hours a week dedicated to that work, whereas YouTube, when I'm filming, I'm doing that on the weekends, generally editing sometimes in the evenings, but I try to knock out all of the editing on the weekends too, if I can, when the kiddos are napping or sleeping at night. So what really, really helps is because Adam, you know, has a full-time job as well, is a lot of times in the evening during the week, he's the one who's helping on the business side. And you guys know from watching other YouTubers, most YouTubers, this is their full-time job. So I really couldn't do this without Adam's support of handling the business side so that I can do the creative side, because that's what I really enjoy. Even though I do a lot of business in my job managing a recruitment team, I like him to be handling more of the business and the financial stuff. That's like not my cup of tea. I'm much more loving the interaction with you guys, creating the content, doing the editing. And that was just one of the other reasons I started this channel, was I was looking for a fun creative outlet. And since I majored in broadcast journalism, I was really missing doing some of the video editing. So YouTube was perfect. I feel like I got to combine a lot of the things I love, from being creative, making videos, editing, and talking about mom life, which is my favorite job in the whole wide world. Sar and KK, did you ever consider being a stay-at-home mom? I'm a teacher, so throughout the year during breaks, I get to see the best of both worlds. I don't think I could do it full time though, so props to those stay-at-home mamas. Love, love, love you. Oh, thanks, love you too. And yes, I totally know teaching, I absolutely love those breaks. And I think if I had been a teacher, or we're a teacher now with my kiddos, it would kind of be, like you said, best of both worlds. It's funny actually, because in college, my college sweetheart was very much about, like, he wanted his wife to be a stay-at-home mom. His mother was a stay-at-home mom. But even at that time, I fought him against that really hard, simply because I was in college in the moment paying for this degree. I wanted to put it to use. Like, I was like, I'm not paying for this degree and working my tail off here. I was graduating with my undergrad in 3 years. I knew I was gonna be doing my master's for a year after that. And I was just like, no. I mean, looking back on it now, it is a huge trade-off. Like, I am missing moments with my kids where, trust me, there are days where it's like the grass is always greener. I'm like, I missed Landon's first time crawling. He did that at my Gigi's house. And I didn't expect to get emotional over this question. But yeah, there are moments where if you're a stay-at-home mom, you get all of those. And I think that's the hardest part about being a mom who isn't working at home with your kiddos. You miss those big moments. Oh, I did not expect to cry about this question. Maybe when I'm beginning my period or something, I don't know. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think that's the hardest trade-off of working, is not getting to have those moments with your little ones. And it's hard. At the end of the day though, Presley and Landon should know I love them more than anything. And they're the biggest motivation to why I'm working so hard, because I want to be saving for their college and I want them to have opportunities to do anything that interests them, that I'm able to support them in that. And a lot of times those things are a financial investment, and I truly believe throughout their entire life, like, I want to be investing in their happiness and their future and whatever they're going to be passionate about. I don't ever want them to not be able to do something that they would really enjoy doing. So that's why it's important to me. And I think in the long run, again, like, I like keeping myself really, really busy. So in the long run, I hope that they see that I was working really, really hard for them and their happiness, and every moment that I have with them, I savor and maximize and try to make the most of. Brenda Clark 1008, did you have any trouble getting pregnant? If so, how did you get through it? So Landon was a total surprise. We had just gotten married and I was actually on the birth control pill, so he was a complete shock. I was 8 weeks along when I realized I hadn't gotten a period and took a pregnancy test and it was positive. So Landon was the greatest surprise on the planet. And then Presley, I have always had some pretty irregular periods my entire life, which I think was why even when it had gone 8 weeks that I was like, oh, is this normal? And my friend was like, no, you need to take a pregnancy test to make sure. But with Landon, I didn't have my first cycle until he was 13 months old. I was still nursing him, and that was around the time actually because of getting my period. I think probably the taste of my milk changed. He stopped taking milk from one side, and then I went 6 weeks without getting another period. So again, it was sort of irregular. And then that next period, I got pregnant then. It would have been like the third time technically that I ovulated after having Landon, because I only had 2 periods after I had Landon before I got pregnant with Presley. So my biggest thing though that I would say that I just paid attention to when we, you know, decided once I got a cycle, okay, we are like just going to start trying, but I wasn't, you know, peeing on ovulation test or taking my temperature or doing anything crazy. The number one thing that I just paid attention to was my CM. And you wanna look for that egg white. It will be clear, it will be super stringy. And literally I remember, like, as soon as I saw it, I grabbed my husband and Presley happened. So I feel really, really fortunate to be in that position, but I would say just paying really close attention to that sign from my body that that was my most fertile time was really helpful. Because I know for a fact when I would use an app and try to keep track of just when my period would be coming, before I was married, before I was ever trying to get pregnant, just wanted to know when my period was, and it would ask for certain things. I definitely do not ovulate on day 14 like as standard. I definitely ovulate later when paying attention to my CM during my windows of my cycle. So again, I'm not an expert. I don't work in the medical field, but I know that's how I got pregnant, by paying attention to that. And to me, it was way less stressful than having to worry about taking my temperature at a certain time every single day or peeing on an ovulation kit every single day. It was like very, very obvious that like, okay, this was it. And that's how I got pregnant with Presley right away. Laura Stengelin asked, do you collect anything? Also, what's your favorite wine? I don't collect anything. Favorite wine is definitely Apothic Red, and I just tried the Apothic Sparkling right after Christmas. It is so good. Somebody tipped me off to that in one of my video comments, and it is seriously so good. I'm so happy Apothic made a sparkling wine. Bree Fletcher 2015 asks, how did you and Adam decide when it was the right time to start having children? My husband and I will be married for 3 years this coming May. Our anniversary is in May too. But we are both still young. When do you think is the right age? That's a really good question, because I feel like that is very, very personal. Obviously, from how I just answered that question before, we didn't plan on having Landon right away. We actually said, oh, we'll be married for 5 years, do a lot of traveling. I really wanted to travel, and because at the time I'd only used my passport once. But as far as just the right age goes, or the right time, I think if both you and your husband are on board and know that you want kids, and you feel like there's nothing holding you back career-wise or other big life events that you're trying to plan around, then I think the easiest thing to do is just say, okay, we're like going to stop using any sort of protection if you are, and see, you know, God can kind of decide and let it happen naturally that way. But I think for me, that was like the other big thing of why I wanted to wait 5 years too. I had just started a pretty high profile job for a school district, and obviously career was something really important to me. Again, I worked really hard in college and wanted to have a successful career. So I was very much afraid if having a baby was going to hurt my career. And I think as a woman, that's really real. I think especially even in the job I have right now, coming back with 2 kids and having that be an extra layer of work and responsibility, and it is just a lot harder for me. Coming back after maternity leave with 2 kids was way harder than 1. And I'm still trying to put my finger on why that is. I think in my former workplace, it could have been that I was one of the youngest in the entire office. So I think everyone in the stage of life they were in had kids, and maybe they were just much more understanding of where I was coming from. And so I got a different type of support than in the workplace that I am now. And that's in no way, like, it's a very supportive work environment. Like, they allow you to bring a caregiver when you're traveling for work. And there are different things that my other workplace actually like did not have as part of the benefits or caregiver support. But I think it's just that the age of my team and my peers, if people have a kid, the majority only have 1. And so I think having 2, again, it just feels like a very different ballgame. Or that a lot of the team that I managed last year don't have children yet, many aren't married yet, and I think that just makes it different in like the understanding of the concept of maternity leave, or understanding the concept of what your day-to-day can look like. And that's real. I remember even before I ever had kids and was breastfeeding, even breastfeeding in public, I was always a little bit kind of looking at people like, oh, like I don't think I would do that. But like now I'm like, oh my God, of course you're going to do that. Your baby needs to be fed. Absolutely feed in public. I'm all about normalizing breastfeeding. But it's really hard to have that open mind and take that stance until you've gone through something yourself, experienced life for yourself. There's definitely something that comes with maturity, and there's a lot more empathy that you have for others when you like start going through things. Jessie OM asks, how do you beat the post-Christmas blues? I know, because it's so sad once the holidays are over. I think for me though, a new year and a fresh start gets me so excited. I cannot wait to organize and clean my house more. I just posted like a New Year's resolutions video where I talked about that, but really excited. And actually after I film this video, I think I'm gonna do my pantry and like my kitchen command center today. I can't wait. I'm gonna redo like the kids' closets. I'm gonna redo my master closet. I definitely need to clean out my car. There's like so many things on my to-do list that I'm actually so excited about doing. And I think that's a nice distraction and way to feel really accomplished and beat those post-Christmas blues. Hey Hallers asked, where is your favorite place you have traveled? I think my favorite place by far that I'm dying to go back to is Italy. I'm Italian. I actually got to go to Sicily, which is where my family is from. So I definitely enjoyed Italian. Like Italian culture is just so special. And there's so many different places in Italy that just look different, but are so beautiful in their own ways. But I think my biggest surprise of where I traveled that I didn't expect to love so much, and I hadn't really heard much about it before going, but on the Mediterranean cruise my husband and I went on, was Croatia. Croatia was so beautiful. Some of the prettiest beaches. We went to this old town, and just walking around Croatia, it was so cool. I would actually love to go back there. We went to a beautiful beach there. It was just really pretty, and the people were very nice. So I loved Croatia. Sleepy Elizabeth asked, maybe this question is too much for a fun video, but I want to know, how do you personally deal with difficult people? As a working mom and female, I find that gender inequality is still prevalent, and I'm still trying to deal with it myself as a female attorney. Because you're a successful woman, I'd like to get advice on how you handle it. Thanks, and looking forward to the video. Oh, Elizabeth, this is such a good question. I do feel like this could almost be an entire, not a video, like I'd almost want it to be a discussion. Like I would love to have something where you guys join and we talk about this topic, because it is something that definitely fuels me up and is something I very much have experienced. In the former role that I was talking about at the school district, one being the youngest, also being a female, there was just so many challenges that I encountered, and it is really difficult because sometimes people don't take you seriously because of your age or because of your gender. So I feel like this could be an entire discussion where we could share coping strategies with each other. I would say the biggest way that I dealt with it though, I've been so very fortunate to have some of the most amazing managers who happen to be females, total boss ladies who inspire me, who have been both bosses and mentors to me. I feel like I can come to them and bring my full self to them, and they understand where I'm coming from, and I can get their advice, I can get their opinion, I can get how they would handle things. That is something I know that is actually really challenging, and I think some of the biggest problems of why gender inequality exists is because we don't have enough female boss ladies in positions of power to serve as those role models. But I have been so fortunate in my career that I have had some incredible female leaders who I can just look to and go to for advice. Oh, Presley's crying. She just woke up from her nap, so I'm gonna have to cut this off. I'm sorry, I ramble so much in these. If I didn't answer your question, I'm really sorry. I'll either do another Q&A or I'll try to do an Instagram live where I answer some of these questions. But you guys are so awesome. You asked me such good questions. This was really fun. I hope you all have a wonderful new year, and I will see you in my next video. Love you guys. Bye. Make sure you're following me on my Instagram and my Twitter for the next time that I do a Q&A so that you're notified and can ask me questions or join an Instagram live. Happy New Year!